All right, everybody. Welcome on into the hot corner. This may be the final one, it looks like. For a while, the Giants pull it off to get to 500. They win their last three, finish up 81-81. Final score today, 4-0. Logan Webb pitches a gem, and we'll talk about it here on the hot corner. And welcome on in. Hey, guys. Baseball has wrapped up its regular season, and for the 8th time in 9 years, I believe, the Giants are not in the playoffs. And
yeah, it sucks.
You'd think
that sucks.
We were in Pittsburgh or something. Even the Cincinnati Reds made it. Wow.
Hey, and let's talk about that. How many people thought 83 wins was going to get your third wild card? Come on. I mean, that's nuts. At the beginning of the season, what was it? Oh, it's going to take 89, 88 wins to get into that third wild card. Not so much. Again, that's the beauty of baseball. When you go into a season, you just don't know how it's going to pan out. And, as bad as it is, finishing 500 for the San Francisco Giants, because we had, bigger and better things. But hell, look at the Mets. We could be the Mets fans. Could you? I see you out there, Mark. I feel for you, Mark. I do. Mark and Armand are Mets fans.
That's the worst when you spend that much money.
Yeah.
And you don't make it. I mean, I can't say I'm disappointed because I can't stand Steve Cohen, what he's done to the game, as far as just giving out these ridiculous contracts. I think it's kind of poetic justice, so to speak. Yeah. But that said, would have been nice to see Tyler Rogers get in the playoffs.
Yeah, would have been. Absolutely. The other Rogers is going to be in the playoffs, right? Isn't he a Cub now?
Yeah. No,
he was a Red, now he's a Cub.
Yeah, he went from the Reds to the Cubs. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, there's certain owners. It's kind of funny. You can't stand a guy. I mean, if you're a Mets fan, you'd love Steve Cohen, right? We would love to have Steve Cohen as a owner of the Giants. But on the other side, you got a guy like John Fisher of the A's, complete opposite that you can't stand.
Same thing with the guy in Pittsburgh. Who's the guy in Pittsburgh?
He doesn't spend either. Yeah. So, Mike says Giants ended only 2 games out. Yeah, technically probably 3, but close enough. But hey, that only counts in what? What do they say? Hand grenades and
hand grenades.
Yeah, horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yep.
But
it was nice. Hey, you look. Yeah, it was the Colorado Rockies, and that was what was so nice. When we were getting there into the home stretch, we said, okay, the Giants, if they win the series in Arizona, if you split in LA, hell, and then you take care of business against the Cardinals and the Rockies, they had the chance. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. And look, the Giants finished 81-81. Could be worse. Hey, they finished 2 games better than last year. Hey, you want to look at the positives? But let's see. Look, there's going to be a lot of questions, and I already see it in the chat. I've been seeing it. God, Glenn, we've been seeing it in our chat for about a month. The big question is, and I see it right there with the first super chat, Fuji Simeon. Final prediction from all. Does Melvin stay on? That's the first thing that has to get answered before anything else gets done with the San Francisco Giants. So, Glenn, Glenn, what do you think? Well, does Melvin stay or go?
I could see this organization keeping him on board. It's just the way they do things, right? There's always an excuse. It's not his fault. But I've said it over the last week when I was doing the show in your absence, and we had some great talks, me and the chat, about it.
Hey, thank you.
I think – no worries. I think that – I hope you enjoyed your nights out. Man, I think that this team has to go with a younger, fresher look at managers, somebody who, I don't even know what to say, Eric, Lou, Dan. I mean, I get your points of view, but did you see Bob Melvin do anything to make the team better? Did he manage any differently than he did last year? Well, we were all contemplating whether it was, hey, is it Farhan Zaidi pulling strings and, setting this roster and righties, lefties? And I didn't see a big change from last year's predicament to this year's. So Bob Melvin is the man who's pulling the strings, the same as last year into this year, throughout this year. And I don't think he just didn't get the job done. And you got to answer to that, Eric.
Yeah. Yeah. Lou, what say you? Melvin stays or goes?
Well, it's a two-part question. One is because I wanted to bring up how important the manager is. I think Buster will play it safe. I don't think Buster has the balls to fire him, but because especially what he did in season,
True.
And he's going to use excuses after excuses after excuses, and he's going to play it safe. And I want to bring up one thing about two managers and why their teams made it and why we didn't. Cincinnati Reds don't have as much talent as us, but they have a great manager, a proven winner. And everyone always says, oh, who are we going to get? We could have got him last year. There was no reason why we couldn't have got Francona. Okay. Then you go to Seattle. Okay. They have Dan Wilson. Okay. The guy earned it through the minors. He's now there. We have a guy that's been managing, and everyone thinks he's good because he's been managing 11 years. He hasn't won he's never won a series. He's never won the title, and I think managers mean a lot. But as to the question, I think Buster has no balls. He's going to bring it back, and he's going to be safe.
Oh, you're muted in.
Oh, who's managed 11 years?
Melvin.
Oh, he's been in manager for like 20.
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, he hasn't had a winning record in 11 years. I mean, with the Padres, they couldn't wait to get rid of him. With the A's, he had better talent.
I think
he's
I
been
hear you.
Mediocre at best.
I hear you, and I
mediocre
agree.
at best.
But he did get to the National League Championship Series with San Diego.
Did he win?
No, but you said he.
Okay. He didn't win. I said he's never won.
No, you said he hadn't won in 11. He hadn't got anywhere in 11 years.
We did San Diego a favor. We took him off his hands. Melvin,
I agree,
is way behind. But like to the question Eric asked, I don't think Buster has the balls. Buster's going to play it safe.
All right. I think he gets dropped tomorrow. I think tomorrow. He said this afternoon he has been given no assurances that he's staying on. So usually that's a telltale sign to me, because for him to say that, I think if Buster was planning on keeping him, I think he would have told him a week ago, your job's safe, something. For Melvin to come out and say, I haven't been given any assurances, we'll find out more tomorrow when we meet with the front office, I think he's gone. And I think the reason he's gone is a few things. I think the 1-15 homestand, a complete debacle. And then they get back in it, and then another complete debacle. And what are you sending a message to your team when you say you're going to be back in the playoffs? We're going to be in the playoffs. We're disappointed. We didn't, I don't think Melvin comes back, and I don't think it's going to be Bochy either. I don't think it's going to be Bochy. I think, and I hope with everything, it's not the guy what's his name, that Bochy's roommate, that's on the coaching staff. Roommate? No, I mean
Hallberg.
Buster's Hallberg. Please don't let it be Hallberg. We don't need another friend. We need a manager. We need somebody that is not. It's hard to let go of friends, and we saw that with Yaz, teammates, and Wade that should have never been on the team opening day, but we had to go with Yaz and Wade, and there was some pretty good first basemen that didn't get picked to come here. So there's guys like, I'm hearing Skip Schumacher in the chat. I know that name's a popular name. I've heard Cody's talked about, just drew a stinking blank. Nick Hundley is his choice. I personally would love to see Yadier Molina. He's from Elliot Ramos country, Puerto Rico. I think that would help Ramos tremendously. It would help the other Dominican players with communication, and it would light a fire under this team. So that's my take. I think it's going to happen tomorrow. And if it doesn't, if they keep Melvin, then I personally don't think the Giants, I think it's going to take a long time for Posey to figure this thing out if he ever does, because to me, it's pretty cut and dry, clear. You should be able to look. The fact that they brought Eldridge up for 13 games, hardly played him, it seems like. What are you waiting for? You're playing meaningless baseball for the most part, and you're not even playing this guy. Give him the opportunities. Give him the reps. Otherwise, what are you sitting him for? What did you bring him up for? And I think Melvin what are we platooning for? We're pinch hitting for Eldridge. We're platooning. I thought Farhan left the building. I don't know. I just don't see how you get a guy that has a over 800 OPS in AAA hitting against lefties, and then you're telegraphing to him that you don't have that much confidence in him right now to bat against lefties. This is a problem. I think they shake things up. I don't know how they do it, but I think they shake it up.
And given our position, when they called him up, he should have been playing every day and getting every at-bat anyway. And another point on the manager, Eric, you brought it up. I think that given the fact that call a spade, this team gave Bob Melvin a 13-game edge over 500 and brought in Rafi Devers. And they shit the bed. I mean, he didn't get the job done. I think he's got to go.
And I'll tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if it's either or. I mean, it's I'm kind of riding the fence here, but honestly, I would not be surprised if they say tomorrow Bob Melvin's coming back. And I also wouldn't be surprised if they say tomorrow we are moving on from Bob Melvin. Would not be surprised. And I think, to your point, Dan, I think the decision will be tomorrow. We'll know tomorrow whether or not Bob Melvin is going to be the skipper in 2026. You guys all bring up valid points on why Bob Melvin. Look, Bob Melvin shouldn't escape any criticism whatsoever, because he's had made some pretty bad decisions. But what manager doesn't throughout a season? And if you look, and I saw the same thing that you saw too there, Dan, where they were asking him about, whether or not he's got any reassurances, and he said no. It is what it is what he said at the end of his statement. Doesn't sound like a vote of confidence. Zach Manasian made some interesting comments also during the middle good point. I'm telling you, it really wasn't a vote of confidence. It was, hey, he's great, he's done this, but there wasn't really a vote of confidence. So
why did Buster come out and give him that vote of confidence?
Hold on, I'll tell you why. I know why.
I think he should have just kept his mouth shut. No,
I think he was trying to put out a fire, because the team was already scuffling. So why create a bigger burden upon the team when we're questioning the manager? So basically he put out the fire. So then no one has to worry about it the rest of the way through until the end of the season. And now we could start talking about it. So I think he did it as a way of putting out a fire. So good on Posey on doing that, because now you can figure out, hey, let's see what happens the rest of the season, because the team went on a tear and then they scuffled again. But,
yeah, we talked about this when they gave him the extension, or not. I guess they exercised his option or whatever he had.
Right.
And I said it was a good move at the time, simply because it took the pressure off. And I said it doesn't mean he won't.
Exactly. It means nothing.
Because,
man,
look, you're talking a couple $1 million, whatever. You're talking a couple $1 million or whatever Melvin's make. That's nothing to an organization like this.
Farhan got paid got paid last year.
Yeah.
Right. Because they got rid of him, but they still paid him. It's going to be the same thing with Melvin. If they did pick up the option and they got to pay him, well, guess what? They'll pay him the couple of $1 million that he's probably owed. And then they move on if that's the case. And here's another thing. But here's another thing. You see a lot of players come out today. Willy Adames, Matt Chapman. And look, Matt Chapman's got a bigger relationship with Bob Melvin than Adames, but everyone said, even Logan Webb came out and said, hey, this wasn't on Bob Melvin. This was on us. And that's great to see that at least the players are going out there and saying, you know what? Hey, we needed to execute a lot better than what we did. And look, there's truth to that. The team did fail at times because they did not go out there and play their best baseball. At the end, what did let's talk about the bullpen. What did Bob Melvin have to go to after the trade deadline? Not a whole lot, especially after Rodriguez had to go down for surgery. You had no other options, and you had to rely on a leaky Ryan Walker, and I don't think he's going to be part of the Giants next year. That guy can't. He's got great stuff, but my God, he cannot command it. So I think he's gone. But look, and this is what happens. Unfortunately, you can't fire players, but you can fire managers. And again, I would not be surprised. I kind of got an eye on what's going on here. Maybe we'll see something interesting. I know people talking Skip Schumacher. He's going to be the next manager of the Texas Rangers. He's already Bochy's going to probably go. And then Skip Schumacher, isn't he a special assistant to Chris Young over there in Texas, if I'm not mistaken?
I believe he is, yeah.
Yeah, so he's probably going to be the next manager of the Texas Rangers. I'm going to tell you something, and you guys may or may not like it, but you said you're talking about Hallberg. I would not be surprised if he's going to be the bench coach. I would not be surprised if he's a bench coach. And
I don't have a problem if he's the bench coach.
Yeah.
Just don't make him the manager.
You know who may be the manager? Who has never got a shot at being a manager? Again, I'm just...
You talking about Ron Wotus?
Ron Wotus, yeah. I would not be surprised. Think about it.
That sounds like Marty.
Well, whatever. But because
I don't think it's Wotus.
It may not be. It may not be. But I'll tell you what, because I've been talking about this long before. What was this? God, months ago. I was thinking, hey, maybe Ron Wotus, and I'll tell you why. The guy is smart, right? The guy knows baseball.
Ron would have been great for the Giants years ago, and he should have got his shot back when they hired Kapler, in my opinion.
And I'll tell you what, this guy never had a shot to be a manager. And the guy is a great communicator. Holy crap. I mean, I don't know if you guys listen to him on KMBR, but my God, that guy is, he knows what baseball is all about. And think about it. Buster Posey played underneath him, right? For how long? His whole career. He was his bench coach the entire time that he was a San Francisco Giant. So I could see that happening. Now, whether or not Ron Wotus wants to do that's going to be on him, man. Right? It's being a manager is not easy. Right now he gets to be a commentator on NBC Sports Bay Area. He gets on the radio. He does a little bit of here and there working with players, but we'll see. Let's see what happens. And it may not be. It may be Bob Melvin coming back next year.
I think if they do make a move, like Lou said, they got to have balls to make the move and stop with the playing it safe routine. Will they just, will Hallberg become the manager? Do we just, they got to be aggressive. They got to be aggressive.
You know what? Go outside the organization for once. That is not somebody that does, let's get a baseball guy. Let's not, we went outside the organization and got Farhan, a guy who'd never even been much of anything. At least a guy like Yadier Molina or Nick Hundley or, Schumacher has managerial experience. But, Molina and Hundley, former players. Farhan was just a computer nerd, a banker or whatever he was,
economist or something.
Yeah, we don't need guys like that. Any coaches, Fuji says, any other coaches on the staff gone, i.e. like Burrell? Absolutely. Burrell's gone. Burrell's gone, even if Melvin comes back. Book it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he comes back.
I don't think Burrell, he doesn't have a chance. I think hell freezes over before that guy comes back as a hitting coach. What do you guys think of, we're talking about a couple things, the speeches. Give it up for, Willy Adames didn't waste any time on the last day of the season. Bats first to get some extra bats and drives
the first
ball.
Pitch. It was the first pitch of the game, and he hits it out.
Gets his 30th homer, which is been an enigma for the Giants since 2004, the last Giant. I heard a stat today. I think the Pirates have had 6 players that have hit 30 or more home runs in that span. And it took the Giants 21 years to have somebody hit 30 home runs. Brandon Belt, I think, came the closest in 21 when he hit 29 in an injury-plagued season. But what do you guys think? What did you think of the speeches afterwards? You heard from first Adames, and then you heard from Chapman. What do you guys think?
Go for it, Lou.
First of all, we're all talking about something. What the hell are these players and managers supposed to say when the season ends and you get a microphone in your face?
Yeah.
Right.
So I think a lot of the stuff we're talking about now means absolutely nothing. Melvin might not know. Okay. We're talking about the players. What the hell are the players supposed to say? They're embarrassed because they didn't make the playoffs. Adames almost struck out 200 times. We're talking about him in the 30th homer off a pitcher that's not even going to be in the majors, and it's against Colorado. Doesn't impress me. But as for dancing with the two guys, Adames spoke, didn't really mean anything to me. He should have, apologized a lot more. And Chapman was the same speech. I think the biggest problem with the Giants are the fans. And I won't always say this, but fans, some in the chat, people on Facebook, they live in a dream world. I commented, Chapman, I had his thing from last year and from this year. The only thing was he didn't say, I've called people and I'm bringing people over. It's the only difference. I think they're all full of smoke. I think they're almost paid to say it because today's speech was almost identical as last year. I think they're obligated. If you watched it, Adames wanted to speak. Chapman didn't. And basically Adames says, here's your mic. So, he just said, all right, I'll just say what I said last year. So I don't really think if anything means anything. I also think if we're going to go away from the thing, I think you guys are missing someone that they might bring as a manager because I'm sick and tired of hearing about the goddamn Oakland Ballers. Means nothing. If they're going to do something, they're going to bring JT Snow in. Since he basically was the manager for them, he sort of made them, he's in the organization. And until the Giants get rid of him outside the organization, they're not going to win. Eric, you brought up Lotus. It's great, but he got rid of coaching because he doesn't want to travel anymore. Plus, how old is he? He was in baseball for 20 years. How old is he? We got to get younger.
Mid-60s.
I think it's just like our team needs to get more athletic. I heard a thing today that this is what the Giants' motto should be. Do you know that the Mets lost to Miami 8 out of 10 games? And the announcers, who are better than the Giants announcers, said because Miami makes contact and they put every ball in play. Right? And I went, oh, my God, that's what we've criticized the Giants. That's why a team like Miami already realizes what it is to take the next step. We don't. We still have a team that strikes out too much. We do little things that we get excited about nothing. It's sort of pathetic. Here it is, another year. The only good thing happened this year over last year, we finished third. And that's because Arizona didn't play any of their starters. They traded their two best guys. This team has so much work to do. But, I think we're in trouble, guys. Even if we get rid of Melvin, I think they need to get rid of a couple of the players too. I think we have way too many 4A players. I think we have a problem where we have 2 or 3 guys that are actually identical players. The only difference is the position they play in the infield. That's it. They're all basically the same guys. A guy today got upset at me today talking, oh, well, Chapman, you don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean I don't know what I'm talking about? Go over the last 2 years of runners scoring position. The average fan thinks Chapman is great. It's like Susan Slusser, okay? He's not great. He's an above average player. But when you have 4 guys that are above average when it comes to defense and offense, you're going to get a 500 team. Dan brought up a stat 2 weeks ago. It's now 510 games. They're exactly 500. If you go 400, they're 200 and 200. This team has not taken a step to get better. And let me tell you something. Everybody else is going to do whatever it takes to get better. We're going to play it safe, Glenn's favorite word.
Yeah, and you know what? You bring up good points there, Lou. Not only, though. I mean, we're talking about the manager. I think Eric's dead on. Was it you, Eric? Said tomorrow, 10 a.m. Boom. It's got to be done. This can't be something that has, let's all sit down and figure out should we keep the manager. You got to know right now.
Yeah.
Are you keeping him or is he moving on? You got to know now. This isn't let's just break down the season, figure it out. You know what you had. You know what he did. And the fact we're talking about a manager, I mean, the manager's not the only guy, as you've said time and time again, Eric. He's not the only guy that's winning ball games on this Giants team. I mean, we got bigger fish to fry. Manager, closer, starter, a hell of a lot of changes on field and on the bench. We're back to where we were again. This has got to be a complete overhaul before next year. If you go back to the same things as we saw this year, if it's training camp next year and we see a lot of the same, you're going to be here a year from now saying, geez, another 500 season.
Oh, book it. I mean, I think the Giants' new slogan next year should be the San Francisco Giants. What 500 baseball's all about, or nothing like it. 500 baseball, nothing like it. I mean, you can add that because, look, without the ability to make some trades and go out in the market, I'll see what they do. We'll give it till the end of December and see where they're at, see what they go out and do. But we'll know if they're not signing guys, if they're not making any trades. This team needs some contact hitters like Lou talked about with the Marlins. We saw what the Toronto Blue Jays did. Look, I had a decision to make today in fantasy about it. I had enough pitchers, and I said, do I want to start Seymour? And I said, no, the Blue Jays are playing for something, and they're going to hit this guy. Even though he shut him down 2 weeks ago, went 7 innings, I said, the Blue Jays will make adjustments, and they'll smack this guy around. And they certainly did because the Blue Jays hit the ball. Now, if you were playing the Giants, you would say, Giants are hit and miss. They either hit home runs or they just strike out. And the Giants have to change that going into next year. They have to be a team that makes contact. And you need 2 more contact hitters besides Jung-Hoo Lee, preferably 3. But I think it's a struggle. Because look at the lineup. Count how many guys that are not very good contact guys. You could start left field, Ramos, whoever was in right field this year, not much contact. First base, a lot of swing and miss. Second base with Casey. Shortstop, that's 5. Third base, Chapman and Bailey, 7. And our DH, whoever that was. We had 8 guys that had high strikeout rates. Now you can handle, 3 or 4 of those guys. But the difference between the Giants struggle to hit 30 home runs, right? We're all excited about a guy who hits 30 home runs, but he strikes out a lot. And then we say, well, yeah, everybody strikes out a lot. Yeah, but Schwarber hits 55 bombs. Judge hits over 50. Guys that hit 4, you can live with a high strikeout rate if a guy hits 40 plus homers because he's doing something else for you. He's being productive. Riley Green, guy strikes out every freaking time, it seems like, over 200 times. But he hit like 35 homers and drove in 105, 110 runs this year. Where's anybody like that on the Giants? Maybe Devers. Devers in a full season would be that guy.
Devers had a pretty good year.
And you know what? I'm looking at the numbers for this year, how they closed out. And the fact, you got a guy like Willy Adames hit his 30th home run. Yay! Something to strive for through the year for the fans and for the player. But I mean, he batted .225 and he didn't have. What's the good of having guys who are hits 30 home runs? How many RBIs did he finish with this year?
87.
If a guy's hitting 30 home runs, I want to see him hit over 100 RBIs. You've got guys still on this team like McRae. What the hell is McRae doing? Having a contract batting 091 and sitting on our bench. What does he get? And then he bring him in against the Dodgers and he runs himself into a 7-foot out. I mean, you got Bailey still 222. You got Gilbert, who can't hit, 190. Just there's too many weaknesses around the guys who are hitting the bombs. They're not getting on base. So if you want a guy who hits 30 home runs and gets minimal amount of RBIs out of it, it's not the way to go. You got to get like the Blue Jays. Again, I've said it. Dan just said it. You got to get guys who make contact, get on base. That's what they seem to be doing. Did they just pull the wool over our eyes? Were we hoodwinked early? They were getting on and getting over, and they were scoring early, and that just all fell to shit. We're back to the old Giants ways. Do you guys agree or not?
Yeah, I see. Same old.
Let me hit some of these super chats. Rob Iman's had this up there for a while. $2. New manager with wholesale staff changes.
Oh, clean house.
All right. Fuji Simeon, $2. Any ideas / players to get to rebuild the bullpen?
They need a whole new bullpen, not rebuild, a whole new bullpen.
Yeah, they need like 6 or 7 guys new down there.
Closer, first and foremost. We have no closer. Giants don't have a closer. You're going to have to go out there and get one. Now, I don't know if it's going to be through a trade or free agency. I'm guessing Edwin Diaz. I'm guessing Robert Suarez. They're both are going to probably opt out and get paid. Devin Williams, is his contract up, or is it going to have to be a trade to get Devin? He's a guy that may be out there. Again, I don't know if he could get a trade. That would be something. I don't know. But yeah, I agree. You're gonna have to get some bullpen arms. But you know what? Getting bullpen arms is not hard, and it's not going to cost you a shit ton of money. It just isn't. Where the money's going to cost is in the starting pitching, and if you want to upgrade second base.
Well, Eric, do you think that this is a team that has, we just fill a couple of spots, bring in a few new faces? I still think this is a complete overhaul. And the fact the Giants will never, the word rebuild is never in their mantra. So the fact that they are afraid to do something dramatic as far as complete rebuild, build a winning team, they just keep dropping pieces in. And I don't like McRae. Well, McRae, wouldn't we have said last year at this time, why would we bring McRae back on this team? He's just a wasted roster spot. It's just a wasted spot.
The only problem, the only reason why McRae is up because they just had no other outfielder to get.
That's the problem. They don't have enough in their system.
Exactly. Time to rebuild this thing.
Well, McRae is a non-factor in all this. So he's a bench player right now, and that's the only he's the least of our reason.
You could
got to get a right fielder, got to get a second baseman. Those are the 2 position players you have to get.
Yeah, you could get Raciel Iglesias from Atlanta. He's a free agent, and he won't cost as much because he's older. Kenley Jansen's a free agent.
Dan, there's a problem. Dan, why do you say that? Well, he won't cost too much. Go out and spend the money and get the good players.
They are going to.
I don't want to hear anybody saying, well, he won't cost.
They got the money to spend. And I think they're going to go spend.
Hey, can I say one thing? You guys keep talking about these players. There's probably a half a dozen that shouldn't even be on this team. That wouldn't be on any other team. That's the problem. I mean, you look at all these guys that we have, they're average at best. And we got to get rid of these average at best players. I think it's embarrassing that, we have McRae still on the team, just like Yaz. You're talking about Gilbert. Gilbert's not a starter. We have no starter. He's like the 25th or 26th player on a team. I don't give a shit if he's if he's Mr. Excitement and everything. Who cares? If it doesn't give us wins and he can't hit, doesn't mean anything. We have too many players like that. It's like our bullpen. Beck, he'll give up 8 runs and then next time he'll give up 2. We got to get rid of these mediocre guys. Well, the problem is we're happy with mediocre players. We're happy with being 500. Forget that crap. We got to do something to get better. I'm not sure what it is, but too many times we play it safe, and again, we talk about all these situations, but these are the Giants. For the last 8-9 years, they've done the same thing. We can't blame Farhan anymore. You got to blame maybe upper management, but it's the Giants. It's the way to do it. They're happy with the attendance. Me and Dan the other day spoke, except for the Yankees opening day, weekend series, and the Dodgers. They don't have, I think, only one team all weekends are going to be good. They have Colorado twice. They have Atlanta. They have Detroit. They have the White Sox. They have one of the worst home schedules on the weekend. So they're not going to get $3.4 million. And they're going to have to put a product on the field to get the attendance. So it's going to be a test where they got to do something. The other thing is we haven't even bought about Eldridge. I mean, I think one of the things, were you guys happy with Eldridge up in his at-bats?
I'm fine with his at-bats. I was not anticipating him.
3 for 28 with 13 strikeouts.
Lou, he's 20 years old.
So you guys got to remember, this is the new superstar.
Lou, he's 20 years old. What do you want him to do?
Because his reputation, he's our savior. I'd expect a little bit better than 3 for 28.
False expectation. He also
you guys all said how good he was going to be. This guy's a new superstar.
He hit like a few frozen ropes over 100 plus
miles
an hour.
He hit frozen ropes to people. Who cares about frozen ropes? That means nothing.
Lou.
That series, Dan, that series.
20.
He's
20.
Then what? We got to wait 2 years? Then he's not a superstar like everyone has said he is.
They didn't give him a real shot, Lou.
They didn't give him a shot. He was 3 for 28 with 13 strikeouts.
All
right.
They
so
didn't
next
give him
year
a
he's
shot.
just going to step on the field and just be better? I think.
What about Matt Williams first? What about Matt Williams' first 3 years?
Matt had nothing like Eldridge.
He was a number one draft pick.
Oh, baseball was different then. You know what I'm talking about. Eldridge, I thought, was more of a disappointment. Struck out 13 out of 28 times. That's a disappointment.
Well, I could have told you he was going to strike out a lot. I could have told you. In fact,
he's our savior, supposedly. Oh, yeah, he's our savior.
Dan, did you think he'd get that many at-bats and bat 107? I didn't.
I didn't think he was going to – I thought he'd get 50 at-bats. I thought they would play him. How do you expect a guy to even get in a rhythm? He didn't even play 3 consecutive games when he was up. I mean, they mishandled him as they've mishandled Ramos. They mishandled Matos. They mishandled Bart. They mishandled all of it. They mishandled Schmidt early. They just don't even give their young guys a shot. And now is the time to give Eldridge a shot because you weren't in it. Now, as far as what Senior says up here, I tend to agree. I wonder if they might trade Eldridge based on the usage that we saw of him while he was up. It was almost like, oh, we're not going to let him face lefties right now because we don't want his K rate to even skyrocket more. Look, I don't know what they're going to do, but Lou, I think you're crazy expecting a kid at 20 years old getting his first taste of the big leagues to come out and tear it up. And what did you expect him to do? Hit 5, 6, 7 homers and hit
I expected
300?
him to at least hit the ball, not strike out as much, do something. I was unimpressed. 3 for 28 doesn't impress me.
And I'll tell you what, here, let me chime in on the Eldridge. Look, when they called him up, it was just to get his cup of coffee. It was not to really get eyes on him, to really see what he's going to be able to do. Dom Smith got hurt. They were trying to infuse a little bit of something in the lineup. Maybe he could do something. Maybe he can't. But look, we're talking, 13 games, something like that. And that was it. It's nothing. It was a nothing burger. Look, the AAA was getting ready to end anyways for their season. So, yeah, bring them up. Just give them a little taste. See what it's good. See what the MLB is going to be all about, because it's a lot different than it is in AAA. And again, this is not going to be indicative of what Bryce Eldridge may or may not be.
Yeah, he could have
came up. He could have came up, hit 5 home runs, hit 400, and guess what? It means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it does.
He came up and struck out 13 times, and for me, and this is just my assessment, I think it means nothing for the simple fact that it's only a few games. That's it. And he's 20 years old. Look, and I get to what Lou was saying, though. Yes, there's a lot of hype, and that's the problem with today. It was a lot different. You're bringing up Matt Williams. In the day of Matt Williams, there wasn't social media where everybody is talking about the new guy. So all these expectations are through the freaking roof, and it sets up the kid for failure, man.
I think
he sees all this shit, right?
I think you got to have proper expectations.
You have to. But the problem is with social media, it doesn't allow for that to happen, because these kids are on social media. They're reading what the hell's going on. They got all this pressure upon them. Just let the kid see what he could do. And look, he may not even start on the roster next year. He may be back in AAA. We don't know.
It's possible. Yeah.
And let's see how it plays out.
I don't even agree with that. You brought that up, that last post there on the screen, Eric. I mean, You honestly think he had a good eye? A good eye at the plate?
Oh, yeah, he did. His at-bats were pretty damn good. He got to a lot of full counts.
Yeah, he got a lot of full counts. He
He got to a lot of full counts.
He walked 7 times.
He batted 107, and like Lou said, broke down the numbers. I mean, the numbers don't lie.
But I'm not using – it's too small of a sample size. That's where I'm going to go with Bryce
Very
Logan.
small sample size.
It's just too small. Now, again, to the point, the hype was too much. You're putting too much on him, and that's just how I felt about it. I don't think he wasn't meant to come up and literally carry the team. You're not going to look, if you're in a playoff run, there is no way a team is going to put that much pressure on a 20-year-old.
No, but that's what this fan base is all about, Eric. Well, they call him, he's the savior. And, Dallas saying McRae is a September call-up. Why so much focus on him? Because who else are you going to call up? Who else? There was nobody else to call up.
No. I've never seen a fan base that's so nuts. They're chanting Jung-Hoo Lee with banging the Jung-Hoo Lee like there's 80. I would have been 81 and 81, 81 and 81. Come on, what are we getting excited about? My goodness!
I'll tell you what, though. As far as the Jung-Hoo Lee, it gets the crowd into when you go to these games.
I get it.
I mean, when his bats come up, it gets people. Hey, it gets the fans riled up.
The fans are riled up when he comes to the plate, Eric. But when he lines out and grounds out,
and look,
he shuts him down just as quick.
This was his rookie year, and he had an okay year. I think he had an okay year. Jung-Hoo Lee did okay.
He did okay. I'm not going to
shit on Jung-Hoo Lee. I like that we got a guy that people can gather around, because who did we have before? There was no chance of anybody in the stands. At least
he shouldn't be the center fielder, though. He's too.
Yeah, I understand. Maybe he goes to a different. Maybe he plays a different position.
He should be a corner outfield.
He was okay.
I'm looking for somebody that's.
I didn't mind him in the outfield and center field. I mean, his outfield abilities were much better than his second half.
He actually was 18th out of 19 center fielders for defensive runs saved, and he was a little timid, especially on balls near the wall. Understandably so, because of what he's been through. Yeah. But you can't have a guy out there in center field that's timid. Like Gilbert looks like a better center fielder to me.
Oh, he is. Unfortunately, his bat.
He can't play at the major league level, though.
Right.
He can't hit.
Giants have Lou said it. 4A, or maybe it was you, one of you two, Glenn, or 4A players. The Giants have had 4A players for years, and they specialize in 4A guys. They finally got a star in Devers. Adames is a above average player, but he's not a star. Chapman is slightly above average, but he's no star. He's a star on defense, and we all Google and gaga over his defense, which is unbelievable. I get it. But do you guys get excited when you see bases juiced and you see Chapman coming up? Does that get you going like, oh boy, we're going to score here? Or do you go?
But that is the fan base and their misconception of what a good player is. I mean, I'm sure on your chat, it's the same as ours on a nightly basis. I think the Giants fan base think Patrick Bailey is the best catcher in baseball. He could go for all I care.
He's a good framer, good pop time.
What they freaking do? Framing of all the, I don't know. I don't get it. I mean,
I'll tell you what. I would like a better catcher. Don't get me wrong with the bat, but that's the least of our worries right now. To be honest with you, it really is. If we're gonna stratify where the biggest problems are,
your biggest issue is pitching, because it's not just the starters, it's the bullpen. You need if you got a 13-man staff next year, you better have at least 8 to 9 new guys. And I'm serious. They got to have definitely some depth there. And then they need guys that can hit with contact. And that brings me to this question. JG40, because I was ripping the Giants hitting. Hey, Dan, why did Cleveland win the division with the worst team batting average in Major League Baseball? I'll give you a couple of reasons. One, they got a guy by the name of Jose Ramirez. You know how many times Jose Ramirez struck out this year? He struck out, I'll tell you, he struck out 74 times in 668 plate appearances, 11%. That's 20%, almost 20% less than Devers. He's one of the top players in baseball. Jose Ramirez. And get this, Susan Slusser, he's better than Matt Chapman, okay? Susan, if you're listening, you're probably not, but Susan, Matt Chapman is not better than Jose Ramirez. Learn baseball, please. They also had another guy by the name of Stephen Kwan. He struck out even less than Ramirez. He struck out only 59 times this year in 688 at-bats, 8.5%. When you put the ball in play, JG40, good things happen. You want to know why the Giants are 81-81? Because they can't sustain rallies unless they hit the big home run. And when you don't hit home runs and you strike out 10 to 15 times a game, you're going to lose games 3-0, 3-1, 3-2. You're going to have problems scoring. So it's not just batting average, it's making contact, okay? Glad I was able to educate you on today's baseball.
No,
they also have a good
Hold
manager.
on.
They have a great manager.
It goes even more than that. It has nothing to do with their hitting. Where do they rank in ERA in all the major leagues? 4th.
Yeah, well, that helps.
That's what happened when you got a team that can pitch. And that's why the Giants did what they did. The Giants were horrible. Remember, all their hitting numbers were down in the toilet. But what was keeping them in it? It was the damn pitching. They were sitting in the top 3. They were sitting in the top 3 for half the season. The Cleveland Guardians did it for a whole season. They were ranked 4th. The Detroit Tigers ranked 16th. That's why the Cleveland Guardians were able to surpass the Detroit Tigers, because they were able to pitch the ball. And if you pitch the ball and you prevent runs, that means you don't have to score as many runs. So they were able to get away with it by having the worst average because they could pitch.
Very true about the pitching. I was going to mention that. Obviously, that's very true. But I will say this, you've got to have both. You can't just be a team that pitches. And the Giants, what did I say at the break, at the All-Star break? If anybody was listening, I said the problem with the Giants is not going to be as much the hitting woes that they had. It's going to be their pitching in the second half. Why did I say that? Because I knew Landon Roop was going to run out of gas, and I knew that Birdsong was not the answer. And we also had to know, and I think this is why Robbie Ray never got traded, is because other executives had to look at this and go, he's only pitched 30 innings in 2 years. He's going to run out of gas. That's why he didn't pitch the last week. And why did Robbie Ray struggle in his last 7-8 starts? He was wiped out. So, yeah, exactly, Nork. I predicted exactly what was going to happen. They were going to be stink on the mound. And that is what primarily cost them, because they don't have the pitching depth and they don't have it going into next year. And I don't know how they're going to get it, because you're not going to be able to make enough trades. You're going to have to spend, and you're going to have to go get pitchers. But like Lou said, what are they going to do? What will we see more of next year? We'll see Tristan Beck. We'll see Keaton Wynn. We'll see guys like that will be your backups. And then another thing that the Giants were very fortunate this year, they had one of the least amount of injuries of any team in baseball, and they still couldn't get past 500. If they had any amount of injuries that some of the teams like Arizona went through, they lost their entire pitching staff. The Dodgers last year lost their entire pitch. You need depth, and the Giants have jack, squiddly, squat, whatever you want to call it, when it comes to pitching depth. And I don't see that getting any better anytime soon, because the cupboard is empty, my friends. McDonald, he looked good in a couple of starts. He looks like worth giving a shot to. But how long can McDonald go in a season? Giants are great for 80 games because their guys are fresh. But the Giants, for some reason, they get guys. Who was the guy that came up that a couple years ago? He was pitching for the Giants. It was, and he said, "I'm tired." It was at the break. I think it was it the guy that used to pitch for the Dodgers? And he was, forgetting his name. Forgetting his name.
Yeah, that's what he said. I can't remember who it was. Yeah,
I was like, it's only you're not even halfway through the season, dude. I can't remember that guy's name. All of a sudden, he was drafted by the Dodgers, and he was anyway. I can picture him. Starts with an S, last name, throws over the top.
Stripling. That's what.
Stripling. That's it. Stripling. Yeah, he throws. Yeah, straight over the top. Yeah, I mean, Giants need 10 starters going into next season. 5 starting rotation, and they probably should, if they can't fill the bullpen with, a better bullpen, they're going to have to. Oh, and DeSclafani was the guy that also used to make excuses too, that he was tired. I think it was.
I think it was DeSclafani that said
it was DeSclafani, not Stripling.
DeSclafani, yeah.
Sorry, Ross. It wasn't Ross. Yeah, it was DeSclafani. He was tired. Giants don't have real buildup of pitching. And I think that's going to be a huge problem going forward. And until they fix that, that's why I think the Giants, I don't think all the problems the Giants have can be fixed overnight. That's just me. I'd love to be wrong, have egg on my face, and see the Giants actually compete and make the playoffs. But they got so many holes. I mean, you look at the holes this team has. I mean, even their best players are a problem. Right? I mean, you have to admit that Chapman and Adames are offensive problems when it comes to making contact. You can't have those guys back-to-back anymore. And I don't know why Melvin couldn't see that. Batting those guys was a rally killer. They were one and the same. It was like, oh, hey, there's you didn't even have to get a double play with those guys. You just said, okay, we'll just strike this guy out and we'll strike this guy out, inning over. Rally killer. We call
somebody in the chat just said that it was the manager that we got Cincinnati. Cincinnati has a better manager than us, but Cincinnati had tremendous pitching.
Oh,
pitching got them to the postseason.
Abbott, the kid, what is his name?
Legitimate starters.
They lost Green for literally 6 months of the season.
Yeah, they lost him.
Not 6 months. Not 6 months, because the whole
he went out in late April.
Yeah, 3
and he just
months.
came back. He came back about a few weeks ago, something like that.
And you guys got to agree.
He came back in July or August.
Did he?
You guys got to agree, though, that the Giants this year, did you not notice, and I brought it up with Eric many times, that there was such a lack of depth that all it took, we would be on a nice run, and it took just one injury to plummet this team. That's how weak they are. There's no depth on this team.
That's right. There's no depth, and that's where they have to fix. And that usually it can happen if you're willing to pony up. If the owners spend money. Ned Colletti was on the show a couple weeks ago. He said, I asked him the question, what is, because we were talking about the Sharks and them rebuilding, and I said, how long does it take to rebuild a hockey team before they're competing for championships versus baseball? And he said, hey, that's one of the best questions you've ever asked. And he said, with baseball, it's actually easier because you can go spend and get your guys much quicker. But hockey, you're drafting these kids that are 18, 19 years old, and it takes them a while. But I think give the Sharks 3 or 4 more years, they might have a run,
It's because they're doing what the Giants don't do. They
Exactly.
They clean house, basically.
Yep, you got to do
They
that.
went with youth, and guess what? If you win...
Well, let's talk about this.
You go 10-70, and the next year you're going to go 20-60. And the next year you're playing 500. With young players in hockey, that's the way you got to build. You build through the draft, and that is the only way to win in pro hockey. You're going to suck. You're going to stink. The rebuild is the rebuild for a reason. To get better, and then to compete. And this Giants team, it's just a revolving door. Add a few pieces, they're out. Add a few more pieces, they're out. Year after year after year.
Rinse and repeat.
Well, unfortunately, that was a lot because of Farhan, because he would. What was the longest deal he ever signed? 3-year deal. He did that a couple of times. I think he did it with Stella. It sucked, right? It sucked, and there was a revolving door when we were under Farhan. That's a given. As far as the depth, let's talk about that. What team?
Well, let me ask you this before we go into the depth. Do you like Chapman being here for 5 more years till he's almost 30?
Yeah. Hey, look, that's good. Are you going to like Shohei Ohtani in another 6 years, and then he's got 4 years to go? You see what I'm saying? That's the way the MLB contracts are today. They're all long and they're all overpaid. That's just the way it is.
There's a chasm between Ohtani and
Chapman.
Ohtani's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest ever.
No, that's
Chapman
not the point.
Just like,
the point
I don't want a mid-level guy for 6 years.
Anybody's long contract is going to age badly, no matter where they're at, right?
But why would you sign a middle-of-the-road player at 32 for 6 years? I mean, Ohtani was what when he signed that contract?
I hear you. Could they have done a better job? Yeah, I agree. They could have done a better job, and maybe instead of outbidding themselves, they probably could have done a better job. But whatever, it is what it is. And we're stuck with Chapman. We're stuck with Adames, and I don't mean it to sound bad, but yes, do you want them to be better with the bat? Absolutely. Look, they got the power. Right? We all got it. They all got the power. Both of them, one of them hit 30 home runs. The other one hit 21. Elliot Ramos hit 21. Devers hit 36. So we got guys that can pop the ball. What would be nice is just, hey, bring up that average a little bit. How about bringing up that contact when there's runners in scoring position? That's all we ask. And I said that from the very beginning, Glenn, when the Giants were starting to scuffle, all the Giants had to do is hit a little bit more. They just had to hit a little bit more, and the Giants were going to come out on top because the pitching was driving it. But going to the depth, right? So if any team that is going to their minor leagues to replace a starting pitcher, look, they're not going to be aces coming up. They're just going to come up and eat innings. No one has aces in the minor leagues for depth. You just got to have guys come up and eat innings until the injured player can come off the IL. That's it. And the Giants got a few guys. I mean, you got Blade Tidwell, you got Carson Wisenhunt, Birdsong, if he could figure it out, Trevor McDonald. Again, these are just guys that you're going to have in AAA in the event that one of your starters go down. They could come up and eat some innings, because next year, right, we got 3 of the 5 right now. You got Logan Webb, you got Robbie Ray, and you got Landon Roop. Those guys are probably going to be in the damn rotation. All right, 4 and 5. All right, it's going to be what the Giants have to determine. Now, you could go out there and sign a number 2 and you push everybody else down, and that's fine. The Giants are going to go sign a pitcher, right? Come on. If there's one thing that Buster Posey understands, he understands pitching. Come on, that's his wheelhouse. More than anything, he was a catcher. He's going to be a Hall of Fame catcher. He understands pitching. So I could see him going out there and spending a lot of money on the pitching. What's it going to do as far as the lineup? That's a whole different story. But again, just to answer the question with depth, the Giants, I think, are going to be fine in depth, just for the simple fact that you got to rely on your 5. And there are going to be times, right, where they're going to get hurt. You're just going to have guys come up and fill that spot until that guy, as long as it's not a significant injury, and they can come back from IL and get back in rotation. Lou, what say you?
You know, we're just going back and forth. You know,
what else is there to say?
If something happens tomorrow, I'll be a little surprised. I mean, I'm hoping, but I think the problem is, I see in the chat guys are hoping we bring back Dominic Smith. Now, he was good, but I think he's better as a guy off the bench and maybe, as a pinch hitter. But I don't see him as a starter. I just think we have so many problems. The other thing we're not thinking of is every other team that didn't make the playoffs are going to be going off after the same players we are. The Mets with Cohen, they dropped. They're going to be going after it. In our division, San Diego, Atlanta's going to be healthy. That's the other thing I was going to bring up. Atlanta's going to be healthy. That's one less position, wild card position next year when we start. Because if they're healthy, they're going to be a wild card team. So, that's the other thing is I think a lot of times we're dreaming, These are the Giants. And why I got so upset at Eldridge is, for the whole last year and a half, we've been hearing about this guy, and the Giants are the same way. We just do enough. That's my biggest problem. Like the offseason, we got Adames. Okay. We got Devers, but really, we don't get Devers if we don't pick up the contract. But now we're stuck with 4 fat contracts. We can't have our cake and eat it too. And a lot of our stuff is excuses. We have guys that strike out too much, but we have guys that can hit home runs. I think the big problem is I don't think we have enough pitching. I know when I went to the ball game with Eric, we spoke to Marty, and one of the things was, what do you think about Verlander? Should we sign him? I think the Giants should sign him. But if I'm Verlander, do I want to come back to the Giants where right now they have no bullpen at all? They don't have a closer? After what they did for me, it's going to be worse next year. Why would I sign a 1-year or 2-year deal? I'm a Hall of Famer. I want to go to a winning organization. I want someone that has a great bullpen. I mean, I could see him going like, oh, okay. Why doesn't he go to San Diego?
I think
if
he goes
go
back
to San Diego. He would have had 9 more wins.
Watch him sign with Houston.
I'm just saying outside, there's a lot going on. I just hope the Giants do it. But before I forget, because I know we've gone over an hour, I just really, because I do a lot of work with Dan, Eric, and Glenn, I just wanted to say thanks. Because, I don't know whose idea it was to do Hot Corner. I really enjoyed our friendship. It was great to meet you guys at the game. All 4 of us, the Hot Corner went. It was good. And, it'll be tough. I know that, we'll probably do a few things during the baseball playoffs, but I just wanted to say thanks, guys, because it was very enjoyable working with Glenn and Eric. So I just wanted to make sure before I forgot, it was really fun and get to know you guys.
Hey, Lou, let me ask you something. While you were giving your little soliloquy there and your deep, dark feelings about this team, don't you think it is time for the Giants and their fan base to stop with put players around guys like Chapman? With his numbers, you got to put Chapman around star players. It's the way I feel.
This is interesting. Yeah, the Giants didn't have very many draft picks this year because of
who they didn't
signed. And you can't rebuild. If you just go sign all these guys with big, fat contracts and it doesn't work out. Look, we've seen how this works out. We saw how the Cubs got rid of look what the Cubs did after they won the World Series. And what was it? Just a couple years ago, they traded all their guys, Baez and
the Big Five they traded within 2 days of the trade deadline, the Big Five.
Yeah. They made a decision, and look where they are. Look where they are, and look what the Giants are. They're in the same stinking spot, 500. You got to pick a lane. And if the Giants go out and start getting free agents with guys that have qualifying offers, going to be very difficult to get good players in the draft when you don't have any draft picks. So,
all right, how about this? What did the Giants pick last year in the international draft?
Well, you don't. There is no pick. You can get whoever you want.
Right, but who did they get? What rank was the guy that they got last year?
Oh, they got the number 1 ranked guy.
Yeah, they did. But what are they going to get this year? They're
going to get a top guy this year.
They're going to get the number 1 guy.
But how long are those guys away from?
Those
remember Matos and Ramos were highly ranked.
Same thing with Luciano. Yes.
Yeah.
But
Luciano, how did they
but that's part of the draft. You got to also include that. Yes, it's a long game. Look, the draft is a long game, but the Giants are getting something done with the international draft. Unfortunately, we're just not going to see it in the near term. Glenn, you talked about it with hockey. It takes a long time, right? It's the same. With baseball, a little bit different, right? Because you could spend money and get it in the short term. You could do trades, do it in the short term. Also long term, depending on who you trade for. For the draft, it's always long term, unless you're going to get a guy. Supposedly, as D-Shot's talking about the Luis Hernandez, did you know that guy, supposedly, they're talking about him. As soon as he gets signed, they're expecting him to be in the majors in 3 years. That's how good that this kid's supposed to be. He's got an overall rating, if you want to do the whole the 80 the scale, he rates out at a 60 or 65 overall. The guy is amazing. So we'll see what happens. And it's good that the Giants are doing this because it's better for the club. Let's see what happens. And again, and to your point, to losing the draft picks, look, that was under Farhan. We lost those draft picks under Farhan. Now they've gotten underneath the CBT. Now the Giants aren't going to lose any more draft picks in the next draft, and they could start cooking. Now, unfortunately, it's just going to take some time. It's just not going to happen overnight as far as draft picks are concerned. But you can go out and spend and make your team good in the near term.
I'm taking a bit of heat because I said rebuild. And I mean, there are a lot of changes to come. Bullpen, on field, a lot of changes. But when I say rebuild, I think that also includes guys that you just brought up. Luciano, Matos. It's time for the organization.
They probably won't be on the team next year.
By the way, Green Bay just tied it up at the end of overtime. Games ends in a tie, 40-40. What a game.
This organization has got to look at its entire depth when it comes to rebuilding. I mean, there are guys in the mind. How long are you going to keep these guys, Luciano's still there. Luciano's still there. Matos still there. Are they part of the organization? Really? Playing games with them. It's time to move on.
Yeah. Look,
and again, it's like mediocrity. Oh, well, we'll just keep them around. Play it safe. I would rather this team make all the moves necessary. And if they fail, at least they made the moves. But to play it safe and say, yeah, we missed the playoffs by, like somebody said, we missed, what were we, 2 games out, Eric?
2.
It could be 20 for all I care.
Eric,
because if you don't win and you don't get in, it doesn't matter whether you're 1 out or 100 out. It don't matter.
Eric,
you know what? Colorado, somebody mentioned Colorado. Lou, you mentioned Colorado earlier. They were the worst teams ever. We're no better than Colorado today, right now. They didn't make it, and we didn't make it.
Eric, you mentioned that the Giants, you think, are going to spend a lot in the offseason.
I think so.
What makes you think? Is that just speculation on your part, or
$160 million is all they're at? That's it. And they spin up to what,
right.
217 this year? There's no
right.
And then that CBT goes to 245. I think they get up at least to 220, right? At the minimum, they get to 220. So in the trade deadline, if they got to pick up a contract or whatever, they got the wherewithal to do that.
And if they don't, it's a real eye opener, isn't it, Eric? If they don't, it's a
then if they don't, that's a whole different bag of. Yeah.
I think ownership has put money into this team the last 2 years. And they took on the Devers contract. They ponied up for Chapman, Adames, Lee, Webb. How many bigger contracts? And if you're going to go out and get a player to come to San Francisco, we know pretty much for certain they're not getting superstars in free agency.
No,
because they don't want to come here. So what do you got to do? You got to go get mid players and pay them like they're almost superstars.
How much do you think it would cost you to get Bichette? 25 a year for 7 years?
He better make more than Chapman because he sure is a lot better hitter.
I think you could do that. And
So
then
you
know what else the Giants need to do? Take advantage of freaking deferments. Because then you could spend even more. Take advantage. Every other team does it. The Giants are rich. They can afford it.
So you're Bichette. And Toronto offers you similar money. Or the Dodgers say, you know what? The Dodgers go, we really don't have a really legitimate short second base. We got Mookie Betts, but we kind of want to move Mookie back to the right field. Where are you signing if you're Bichette?
Yeah,
and
absolutely. I mean, if you're competing,
Giants can pay, but do these guys really want to come? I mean, I get Adames jumping on 7 years. He probably like, oh crap, no, I didn't think I was going to get 5 years from anybody. I'm getting 7, and I'm, and where do I sign? I mean, Chapman, as he's trying to run out the door and into free agency, they chase him down and they say, hey, wait, don't leave, don't enter free agency, please. What do you need? We offered you 4, now you want 6 years. All right. Well, we'll give you 6. Oh, and Boris says, I want a no trade clause in there too for protection. So Farhan's like, nah, I don't want to do that. That's a little too much. And Posey's like, Chapman. We'll give you the no trade clause. Now you got Matt Chapman, who's going to be 33 next year and is declining with his hitting. He's still pretty athletic and he's top of his game defensively, which is only, part of the game. But that contract when he hits after next year, 34, and he's even worse, you're going to be like, oh crap, how do we get rid of this? And we're stuck with 3 more years. Wait a minute. This is next year, year 2. So
year 2.
After year 3, you got 3 years left. You are going to eat the back end of that contract like nobody's business. And you even mentioned, Eric, Ohtani, every contract. So if you're going to eat the last 3, why not try to trade Chapman now and pay money to somebody else to take him? Say, we'll eat the money now. We know he's going to be he's going to give us little production in years 4, 5, and 6 of the contract. Remember that you got 2 more years before you even get to that point. And I would say, here, we'll pay half of the contract for the remaining, or you're only, when you only eat half, you're really only eating, half of it. So, and then you get out from under that, you got other money to spend. You can move Schmidt, who's really not a second baseman. He played good, but he doesn't have the range that you need there to play second base. Put him in his natural position at third base. You're not paying him much. Go get yourself a really good second baseman.
Dan, stop it.
Use the money
Stop
to get.
We're not paying him much. Stop it. What do you mean we're not paying? Why do you always use that term? Well, we're not paying him much. I hate
Schmidt. He's making minimum.
Well, he shouldn't be on the team anyway, but that's beyond the point. Why do you always throw that in, though? Well, that is part of your moniker. Well, we're not paying him much. So,
what I'm saying is he's better than Chapman, in my opinion, overall.
Oh, Schmidt?
He's as complimentary. Maybe he's not better, but he's no worse.
Well, he just said he was better. I don't
He's no worse.
Don't agree with you.
He is no worse than Chapman. I would rather have Casey going forward at the plate than Chapman.
You love Schmidt. I like Flores, dude. I'm going to see. I'm going to miss him.
I'm not
but
saying
at the end of the day, Flores should have got the All-Star break.
I'm not saying Casey's an All-Star, but what I'm saying is you're paying Chapman $25 million a year to strike out when it counts. And yes, he saves you runs defensively. He's excellent. I give him credit for that. But
pitching and defense.
But Schmidt is a very good, sound third baseman. And he can play the hot corner. And if you let him play his position, you're going to get excellent defense from Schmidt at third, and you're going to get as good a production offensively as Chapman. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's better than Chapman, but look, they pretty much batted about the same batting average this year, but Schmidt has less strikeouts and he probably had more home runs per at bat than Chapman is my guess. So,
one of the benefits of getting a guy like Bo Bichette, I brought it up with you the other week, Eric, was the fact that I call it the Hawk mentality. The Hawk. He's up around 32 or 33 years old.
No, 27.
He's 27. There you go. He's 27. So you got 27-year-old guy. If I'm him with the injuries I have sustained this year and last year, got to think long-term and think, hey, I want to be like Andre Dawson. I want to go play in a real pasture, not on turf, this hard cement turf like they got at the Rogers Center in Toronto, Atlanta, San Francisco, Los Angeles. I want to go play on real turf, and I'm going to get more out of my body, and I'm going to have much, much more sound career playing in a real ballpark.
And here's the thing. I think you could lure him here.
And they can afford him, Eric.
Right. Look, the Giants, they landed Carlos Correa. $300 and something million. They were willing to pay. And I think that the Giants will have, will they have to overpay? Sure. But yeah, Bo Bichette, I would love to see him at second base. Right now, right field or outfield in general, I don't know how they're going to. There is no good free agent outfielder out there. None. Unless you want to go get comfortable.
Hey, Insane, you want to come on the show here right now and tell me to shut up? You want to come on this show right now? You're welcome to come on and tell me to shut up. I think I have the mic.
While we do that, let's
Hey
talk
guys,
about this.
I do want one thing. What happens if Toronto wins it? Do you think he's going to want to leave?
That's a good question. And look,
I mean,
he's always said he loves playing with his best friend anyway. He and Vladdy have been together forever.
And
he
Vladdy
says,
just
I
signed
want
a
to play with
massive deal.
Vladdy.
So I'm just bringing that
and
up.
then that's the
Toronto's
thing
in it. So
Blue Jays have spent a lot of money. Now, could they go spend more? They could. I don't know whether or not they're going to be willing to, but they've spent with Santander, with Vlad. And so, I mean, they've spent money. Remember, Bichette also played with Chapman. So, again, there's something there as well. They could both be and look,
there's a little difference between a superstar and Chapman.
Oh, absolutely. No, I understand. Right. But I'm just saying that they played together, so they understand each other. Now, you're going to have to sign him because, look, his numbers at shortstop isn't that great. It isn't. I'm talking about Bo Bichette. He would be better at second base because his arms are not as strong, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Insane. If I'm dumb, how come I won fantasy baseball 2 years in a row? Huh?
Did you win it?
No, you didn't win it.
Yes,
Come
I
on.
did.
No, you didn't.
Marcus won it.
No, you didn't. We innings pitched. Half of those.
Nope.
Half
they
of those
all count,
numbers.
Eric. They all count.
What are you talking about?
They all count. You got to know the rules. I won it fair and square. I knew you'd think that. I won it fair and square. I had a strategy, and I pulled it off, and Marcus finished in second. You watch tonight when everything settles, those innings will count.
Mr. Commissioner, what say you?
No.
Doesn't matter.
Dan,
No,
the one good
innings,
thing is you only did baseball fantasy, so we don't have to worry about football. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's talk about this. I'm not worried about that. Here we go.
No,
Wild card set, guys.
Yeah.
Here we go. Tigers versus the Guardians, 1 p.m. on ESPN. Padres at the Cubs, 3 p.m. ABC. Red Sox at the Yankees. That's going to be a hell of a series right there. 6 p.m. ESPN.
Yes.
And then the Reds at the Dodgers. 9 p.m.
So
ESPN.
it says games 1 and Tuesday. So are they the same time both days?
They might be. I know sometimes they do what is that? Where they offset the second day sometimes, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm just reading it. That's a little confusing in my mind, but
so
and I assume that's Eastern time.
Tuesday and it's Tuesday and Wednesday all the same time. Well, there you go. That's what Jeff is saying. Tuesday, Wednesday, all the same. All times Eastern.
Yeah, 108, 308, 408, and 708.
Okay, I'm seeing different times. Where do you get your times, Glenn? I'm seeing 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock,
1, 3,
9
6,
o'clock
9
Eastern.
Yep, those are all Eastern.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, they're all East. Yeah, those.
Yeah,
are
that's
all
what Jeff is saying. All times Eastern time.
Yeah, I got it up on the screen here, and I'm going by. Well, Cincinnati's in LA, so that would be what? That's a 6:08 start.
Yeah, 6 o'clock here. Yeah,
6:08. I always look at it our times, right? So I'm seeing 8:08 Winnipeg time. Geez, if I turn on 9 p.m., the game will be over. I'm going to miss it. So,
yeah.
So who do you think wins the series? Bring that back up, Eric. Let's
do that. Let's just go. Let's take it. Let's do that. Who wins the Tigers and Guardians?
Scooble's going game 1. You know, it's funny. Baseball, sports is funny. The Tigers collapsed, and they played the Indians down the stretch. And yes, I said the Indians. They played the Indians down the stretch quite a bit, and Cleveland won both series to catch them. It wouldn't shock me to see Detroit come back and win. I think the Guardians are the better team. Detroit has a lot of issues, so
they've been scuffling.
They've been scuffling. I'm going to take Cleveland, but it wouldn't shock me just because of the way sports works. But I'll take Cleveland. Are we going to do each series one at a time?
Yeah, let's see that. Yeah, okay. Let's do that. So
you want me to pick all 4, or do you want to pick everybody pick on one game?
Just pick all 4, and then we'll just go down the line. Let's just do that.
I'm going to take the Padres over the Cubs. I think the Yankees probably beat the Red Sox, although I'm rooting like crazy for the Red Sox. And the Dodgers should win, but don't be shocked. Don't be shocked if the Reds, with their pitching, if Hunter Green takes them down in game 1, they just need to somehow pull off one of the final 2. Hunter Green is a guy that can shut you down, but unfortunately, I think the Dodgers they got just as good as fire. They're going Blake Snell, Yamamoto, and Ohtani if necessary in game 3.
Interesting. Lou, what say you?
I think the big thing is, remember, these are best out of 3. So,
yes, correct.
I think it's completely different. So I'm going to pick every single road team. Make it easy. I'm going to pick all the dogs.
Nice.
I think the Red Sox will beat the Yankees. I think the Reds, the pressure's all on the Dodgers. Hunter Green wins the
that
first
would be
one.
Awesome.
So, and then, the Padres after last year could be, maybe it's their year, and I'll just tick the Tigers because, they have Scooble and they should go up 1-0. And then, it's, and then they're going to be home. So I would just pick all the dogs, all the road teams.
Glenn.
He took the words out of my mouth. Short series, so this is why the Tigers are built for this. Tigers got to beat the Guardians. Could go either way, but I got to go with Tigers based on pitching in a short series. The Cubs are a better team than the Padres. The Yankees much better than the Red Sox, and the Dodgers are the Dodgers. So I got the Tigers, Cubs, Yankees, and L.A. And
nice.
And by the way, I know that L.A. is real turf. I don't know. Isabel is saying, no, Glenn, it's real turf. I said real turf.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to go because they got Scooble going. Man. Yeah, I'm going to go Tigers. Tigers, Cubs, Red Sox, Dodgers. That's where I'm going to go. Tigers, Cubs, Red Sox, Dodgers.
And I said Guardians, Padres, Yankees. And I'm picking the Dodgers, but I wouldn't shock me like Lou. It would not shock me to see all 4 road teams win. But just, the pitching is going to be the key in the playoffs. But I don't know if the Tigers have a second pitcher. I don't know who they throw. Do they throw Mize game 2? I'm not sure who they go with. But Red Sox can play with the Yankees. And Cincinnati could surprise the Dodgers if it's just you got to win 2. That's it.
That's it. 2. That first game is key. It is. That first game is key because then you don't have to win 2 in a row.
Philip, thank you for that. Exactly. That's exactly what I was trying to say. When you factor in the money, that's money you can spend elsewhere. That's why, I'm just saying I think they're pretty similar players. But yes. And I just want to show you something, Eric.
And I don't want the Giants to fall into the same trap as I saw. The chat was electric early about the Mets and how they fell apart. You got to build a team. You can't throw money at 2 or 3 guys. You have to have a full roster. You have to have depth at all positions, even the bench, the bullpen, to go out and throw money at 2 or 3 guys and say, well, this is our winning formula. It ain't going to work.
Yep.
Build a solid team.
Oh, yep. Justin, he did 2. I'm sorry about that, Justin. I missed one earlier. He did $2. Says, look at what Boston's rookies did versus Eldridge. Not sure.
Yeah. Crochet goes game 1 against the Yankees. Yeah.
Yep. Your gut feeling, does Verlander come back or no? Said Fuji with $2.
I think so. Again, because who else is going to give him the money?
Fantasy Baseball Award Senior says, well,
nobody cares about that.
Nah.
Some do. I know you don't.
No,
but
nobody cares when we're talking about baseball playoffs.
Here's the final.
Cares about it.
Here's the final standings. Who's the final standings? And those numbers will log in at 1:30 tonight.
How many innings pitched did you have left?
I had 2 outs left.
How many innings pitched did you have left?
I had 1 inning left. But
how many innings did you throw?
You're not going to be in first place.
Yes, I am.
How many innings?
Let me show you something. Look at this right here. Look at Big Green Weenie. He went 1,413 innings, and he finished a few days ago. They count.
Well, they're not supposed to. They're not supposed
they are,
to. That's
Eric.
the reason why that's why I put the innings pitched regulation on there.
Yes,
that's why I
but
put 1,400.
if Yahoo, what you got to understand is Yahoo allows you to go over, and once you go over, that's it, because they can't cut you off middle of the game 1,400. They just don't do that. So you can go over. Like I had one.
Yeah, but how did somebody get 31 innings over?
Let me call Vince Russo. I'm gonna give him a call and I'm gonna find out, because he's done this for many years. I want to see where he stands on this.
It doesn't matter where he may not even know, but Yahoo counts them. Look, we all know what the intentions were. That was doesn't matter.
Otherwise, everybody would have been throwing freaking innings.
I just left mine at 1 because there's no, you didn't matter. Okay, let's get back to business, Eric. Did Verlander come back?
Whatever. I think he might. I think there's a high possibility that Verlander comes, because the reason why Posey was the only one that went and offered Verlander $15 million.
And he didn't pitch badly, Eric.
No, well, in the beginning he did, and there was times where the bullpen failed him. Period.
Exactly.
He had a couple of stinkers, and that's going to happen. But he finished the season strong, man. He finished strong. So I think there is a high possibility he could come back in the rotation.
All right. Real baseball gets underway this week.
What's that?
Can't wait.
No, I do. I can't wait. Lou, what do you think about Verlander coming back?
If I was him and his agent, I wouldn't come back, just because they don't have a bullpen right now. The Giants, their stopper has Tommy John. Their stopper right now is a disaster. Their bullpen's going through major changes. Right now he's a Hall of Famer. He's trying to get wins. True. And if you remember this year when they signed him, Giants weren't even in his top 3.
No, it wasn't.
I just think with the Giants going through major problems in the bullpen, you got to think what's best for you and your family.
Glenn, does he come back?
Isabel's still saying, I think that LA is turf. Isabel, real grass. It's growing. It's going to be there in the postseason. We'll mow it. It'll be good. All right. Verlander comes back. Verlander comes back because really, who was going to pay him last offseason? He came here because he chased the money here. He wanted to, prove he could still pitch. I mean, he says he wants to pitch. I think he's going to be hard pressed to get the money elsewhere that he'll get with the Giants.
Gotcha. Dan, Verlander come back?
No, he signs with the Houston Astros.
Goes back to Houston?
Yeah. He's got a bullpen there. He's got Hader. He's got Abreu. Houston's going to pay him. They see that he has a little bit left still in the tank. I think the Giants may try to get him back, but if the Giants were going to get him back, this is what they needed to do. And if they thought they were going to get him back, what you would have done if you watched the Braves game today, Charlie Morton pitched the first inning of the game as an opener, came out, got 1 out in the second inning, and walked off to a standing ovation. They were playing the Pirates. He played the majority of his career with both teams. His wife and kids came out on the field, greeted him. Both teams, gave him a big send-off. Giants could have done something yesterday with Verlander, and he could have come out and thrown out 1 out in the top of the 7th. He was through 6. He had only thrown 92 pitches. He could have thrown one more batter and given the chance for the fans to give him a send-off to say, we want you back. But the Giants don't think that way because they're, number one, I don't think they are I don't think the Giants think he's coming back. I would be shocked. I'd be shocked.
All right. Well, that's it, guys. The last one. By the way, Lou, thank you for the kind words. There was a lot of fun doing the Hot Corner. Lou, it was a pleasure. Doing these shows with you. This is a good time, man. I tell you, we come on here, all 4 of us, talking some baseball. That's what it's supposed to be about. That's what the game's supposed to be about. Having fun with some friends, talking some baseball, and that's what it's all about. Thanks, Lou.
Hey guys,
Appreciate that,
can
man.
I say one more thing too? Probably one of the best players of our generation, pitched his last game today. He's not going to be on the roster in case the Dodgers get beat. But Kershaw today pitched his final game. I
Mhm.
also liked what they did. Freeman came out and took him out of the thing. Very emotional, but probably one of the, obviously a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
One of the greatest pitchers we've seen probably in the last 20 years. So I'm glad we don't have to face him anymore, thank God, because he sort of owned us. But, tremendous. And, it's not too often we get to see superstars like this.
You know what? He's going out on top, too. Look, 5 innings, 5 1/3 today, 4 hits, no runs. The guy could still pitch, in my opinion.
Yeah. And Dallas on Verlander, yeah. He's trying to get to 300 wins. He only got 4 here. I'm sure he will sign. If Ryan Walker signs somewhere or gets traded somewhere, Verlander will not go there. Oh, man.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Wow.
All right, let's get the hell out of here, guys.
Yeah.
Good job this year. Good job. Good
Yeah,
job.
buddy.
Lot of long nights during the regular season on our particular shows, but Sunday's been fun.
On to the off season. Woo!